Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action behind the curtain, inside and outside of the ring. I'm your man. Tune into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast on the GSMC Sports Network every night, 8 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, guys, hope you guys have an amazing midweek. It is Wednesday. As my mother used to like to call it, it's hump day. Guys, don't get too excited, don't get too crazy. But you're right there. You're about to go right. It's all downhill. We got Thursday, Friday. Then we have the weekend. So yeah, super cool. Can't wait. We have a lot for you today. So thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a lot for you today on tap. We have our AEW Dynamite 250 preview. We also have our WWE NXT review. We have our top 10 men in professional wrestling and our top 10 women in professional wrestling. And we're going to cap it all off with my Wednesday weekly wrestling news. We're going to talk about the hottest news, all the breaking news within the professional wrestling industry. So can't wait to do that. Remember to subscribe to the show, subscribe to the GSMC Sports Network, and leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, so don't be too shy to go ahead and do that. But before we move on to our first segment, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Be a part of the show. The show's a hell of a lot better with a lot of audience engagement. Definitely like talking to you guys about professional wrestling. Definitely like hearing your guys' opinions and stuff like that. Even if it differs from mine, I honestly I would rather, have different opinions come at me, criticism, so to speak, as opposed to just like yes men be like, oh, that's a good point. Like, you know what I mean? Be like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Solo Sokoa is not, the true tribal chief. You know what I mean? Like, I love those questions. Once again, hit up the GSMC Sports Network. Leave me your comment. Just put your questions up on top so I can see it. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. So ultimately, let's talk. Let's talk about professional wrestling. All right, so let's go ahead and dig on into our first segment. We have our WWE NXT review. Well, they don't like to be called WWE NXT anymore. I've noticed on the pay-per-views on the weekly show on Tuesday nights, it's just NXT. Kind of did away with the WWE, and I kind of get that. I know why they ultimately want to do that. I feel like a sense of WCW, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to, relive, or I'm not trying to, because I love the WCW. I'm not trying to live in the past or try to prove a nostalgic ideology, try to spring up from the underground here. But NXT was a developmental brand for the WWE for the longest time. Once when WWE absorbed WCW, I ultimately felt it would have been within the best interest of both companies just to get more money, to kind of put on this facade, kind of have this fabrication of these two juggernaut wrestling promotions go at it, and not necessarily put in the limelight, put in public view that Vince McMahon bought it. But of course, Vince McMahon and the McMahons, they have their egos and stuff like that. So ultimately, you saw WCW just get, just trashed by WWE. So, and there's been a lot of speculation surrounding the professional wrestling social media and the journalism aspect of it as well. I read an article the other day saying that, they weren't against trying to revamp a WCW, which would, it would be WWE NXT. It would be NXT, has nothing to do with WWE. It's its own entity. Sooner rather than later, NXT has to learn how to stand on its own because, as of October 3rd, no, I think of October 1st, you're going to have, NXT become its own show. WWE has recently trademarked, a lot of pay-per-views that has been kind of set in the past, like No Mercy. I think even, I don't want to, Super Brawl. I think, yeah, Super Brawl. Also, Halloween Havoc, and now you have the Great American Bash for NXT. Kind of that nice little revamp, helping, superstars and, kind of get up to the potential. You have also, a lot of TNA superstars hitting the WWE, in recent times, which is actually kind of cool. I dig it. I think it's awesome, 1,010%. So let's dig into this NXT review. So first we have the Rascalz reuniting, successfully defeating Gallus. This was pretty big. They were separated for 4 years. Wesley absolutely 110% looks too comfortable. Looks way too comfortable. Makes me think that maybe he should have stuck with his gang the whole time. But he made it to NXT. He's the longest reigning NXT North American champion, so can't be too mad at his decision of coming to WWE. They put an NXT title on him. But they looked way too good. Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, Wesley, all three members of the Rascalz getting in the ring together. You could just see it, the look on his face, the moves he was doing, just his actions toward the crowd, toward the camera. He was just having fun. He was having 1,010% fun. He wasn't giving a damn of am I NXT? Am I deep down inside? Am I TNA? Deep down inside, you're a star. You're a superstar. Wesley, he's amazing. He's has an aerial attack. He can pull out a couple submission moves. He keeps you on the edge of your seat 1,010% as a wrestling fan. I know that's how I feel. If there was like a NXT equivalent to Ricochet, I would feel like a Wesley would definitely be in that sort of category. So yeah, and then WWE NXT announced a 2-week event, the Great American Bash. I'm not too crazy on 2-week events. I got to be honest. I think it kind of drags it out. It would be interesting to be like, it's going to be on Sci-Fi thanks to the Olympics in Paris. Obviously, you can't have it on the USA Network because what's a USA Network? USA. What's a USA Network without showing the United States Olympics? It'd be not really, not really USA about it. Like, you know what I mean? So definitely understand the switch to Sci-Fi. We had a 2-week Great American Bash event. So that's definitely heading toward the future. Next, we have Roxanne Perez addresses the NXT universe. She name dropped Julia, also Stephanie Bacure. Thea Hail came out absolutely pissed off because she felt disrespected, ultimately feeling that Roxanne Perez, she doesn't take her seriously. And Thea Hail, she's had her kind of limelight. She's also been with JC Jane a little bit, and she made it Chase U, and it's just ever since then she's been you've seen a different side of her. She's not the same Thea Hill you've seen in the past. So Roxanne Perez almost got her arm broken on last night on NXT. So definitely a lot of animosity between the two. Roxanne Perez shouldn't sell Thea Hill too short. You know what I mean? And you also shouldn't be punking two superstars, one from Stardom, one from the CMLL. You know, you shouldn't be punking these guys. Like these guys can come at 1,010%. They are definitely what the WWE universe is waiting for. I love Stephanie Bacure. I loved her when she was wrestling in CMLL. I only watched her briefly. Got to be honest. I'm not going to try to put on her front here. Julia, I've seen highlights. As soon as I found out she was signed to NXT, I was like, okay, who is this girl? I got to check her out. And she was very good, very good. 1,010%. She's an in-ring, general. Definitely could put on a great match. Definitely could hold up a brand. Definitely capable of holding WWE NXT Women's World Championships. Roxanne Perez walking on rocks. Thea Hail, her and Thea Hail fight each other 2 weeks at NXT Great American Bash. Brooks Jensen, Javon Evans, Sean Spears comes out. Big for Sean Spears. Sean Spears, obviously, kind of that antagonist, kind of that one that likes to dig deep into, people's, dark sides. Loves to bring them out. Loves to bring them out. Brooks Jensen is being monitored by his former partner, Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs is completely just, beside himself because Brooks Jensen is doing nothing to support Josh Briggs' claim. Josh Briggs put his neck on the line for Brooks Jensen to get a second shot at Ava. And so far, he's done nothing but just tarnish it. He's done nothing but, attack people backstage, attack, Javon Evans, the outbreak star of WWE NXT. So, kind of crazy. It's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens. Javon Evans did get his revenge, but then after the match, you saw Brooks attack Javon Evans. Charlie Dempsey talking to the Don, talking about a deal, saying that hypothetically, what would I do if a woman saw this? And then, Tony D'Angelo, the Heritage Cup champion, doesn't want to be part of any kind of scandals, any kind of, allegations or anything like that. Obviously, he still knows that he has to represent the the NXT Heritage Cup to a certain extent. So you can bet that Tony D'Angelo, the Don, is, I think he's one step away from cutting thread between the No Quarter Catch crew and the family. So, you could probably expect something down the line of, that, kind of blowing up into Charlie Dempsey's face. It's going to be interesting to kind of find out how that works out. Speaking because Charlie Dempsey, the son of William Regal, has found himself hitting on TNA Impact episodes and stuff like that, doing promos, interfering in matches. Obviously he has a match next week against Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz and Kushida. So it should be interesting to find out what's going to, happen between the brand. Also, where Charlie Dempsey is going to wind up. I feel like he's a very talented athlete. I feel like ever since Drew Gulak left the No Quarter Catch crew, ultimately kind of left them, kind of crippled. You know what I mean? I do not believe for a second that WWE did not want to come to terms with Drew Gulak as the contract, negotiations and stuff like that. Honestly, I feel like, that's a bit of cloud talk and stuff like that. So, but obviously, that's my opinion. Send me your chat. Tell me if you disagree with, what I have to say. Next, we have Dante Chen, fighting for the NXT Championship against Ethan Page. Ethan Page ultimately was able to come out the victor. We all kind of saw that coming, but Dante Chen showed that he does have a promising future within NXT. Next, you see a promo where Trick Williams calling his former foe Ilya Dragunov drafted the WWE Monday Night Raw in the draft about maybe like it was when the NFL draft happened. So like April. So he's been with WWE he's been with WWE Monday Night Raw. And Trick Williams even said to himself, and he said, and I quote, "I don't even recognize myself anymore without the WWE NXT World Championship." So a lot of, just a lot of stuff, just a lot of beef, just a lot of, you have a, kind of like a trouble within Trick Williams trying to find out who he is. Obviously, did lose the championship in a fatal four-way match, was never pinned. Ethan Page, so he cannot necessarily revoke his rematch clause because it wasn't a one-on-one. But I know it should be interesting to kind of find out the path that Shawn Michaels wants to put Trick Williams on. Will he turn him heel? I honestly don't know. Because he is a total face right now, but obviously they put the belt on Ethan Page for a reason. They kind of want to have, someone a little more like in your face, disrespectful, in your face, like someone who could cut promos that wrestling fans, because we love Trick Williams. I love Trick Williams 1,010%. Think, one of the best baby faces in NXT history, in my opinion. Obviously, you kind of had that, that stint with Carmelo Hayes, and then you saw him defeat Ilya Dragunov when he was fighting for his career. And then he represented the championship really, really well. Then Ethan Page was signed to NXT. Then, lo and behold, at Heatwave, a fatal four-way match, he lost the title. So, it's going to be interesting to find out what Shawn decides to do with Trick moving forward, especially toward October. I feel like this summer, all the way leading up to October, when the CW debuts NXT, is probably going to be the best NXT wrestling you have ever seen in your professional wrestling life. And I believe that because, they're going to have to start selling out arenas on their own. They're definitely relying on that collaboration with TNA. So, something has to give. Something has to give. You're going to see a lot of superstars, a lot of big people coming to NXT, a lot of big, shocking waves, and so to speak, in terms of the professional wrestling industry. Kind of speeding this up, we are running out of time for this segment. Tatum Paxley defeated Izzy Dame, Wendy Chu, and Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley looks like they're kind of going a little buddy, a little crazy here. Obviously, Tatum Paxley in the back was eyeing Kaylani Jordan's NXT Women's North American Championship. Lola Vice defeated JC Jane, and then she was attacked by Fallon Henley and also Jasmine Nix. You saw Carmen Petrovich and Soruka come to her aid. And next you saw OTM lose. They lost against the OC, and that was actually kind of pretty surprising to me. But I know why. I feel like the OC ultimately needed that win, 1,010%. I want to see the OC do a lot better. They were, presented with the independent. They were within the independent wrestling scene for the longest time, and they were a dominant faction. They weren't just like that throwaway match that you saw them on SmackDown, that you saw them on WWE Monday Night Raw. And then when you see them come to NXT, you're like, oh my God, these guys are going to do so much damage. But it's more or less just the same. So it'd be interesting to kind of find out. Honestly, you have not seen AJ Styles on the main roster on SmackDown. He's not injured. He's not been reported as injured. Um, Hey, will he go to NXT? Will he go to NXT, be their number one? Obviously, with that collaboration between TNA and WWE, will you see him return to TNA? Here and there. Just to kind of rattle up the crowd. I feel like that'd be pretty badass. For the main event, we had Duke Hudson taking on Oba Femi for the NXT North American Championship. Duke looked good. I feel like Duke looked good, 1,010%. I feel like Duke could definitely have a singles run. The only thing this match showed is that he still has a lot left in the tank. Could he have a heel singles run? Absolutely. Absolutely, positively. I think that would be pretty cool. He kicked out of the Oba Femi chokeslam, which was pretty badass. It was a clean win. It was a clean win. The whole time I was looking over on the sideline, over on the apron, looking at Rich Holland to see if they would turn Rich heel, and they didn't. And I think it was smart. And I honestly love that. I love the creativity of NXT that, decided to kind of hold off on that. And finally, lastly, in NXT, Brooks Jensen at the end of WWE NXT challenged Josh Briggs to a no disqualification match next week on NXT. All right, guys, do not go anywhere. We're going to move on to our AEW Dynamite 250. It is the 250th episode of Dynamite. Tony Khan's thinking something pretty big, pretty big. Is it going to be really, really big? We'll find out when you come back.